The question before the text is this: where was the resurrection body of the Messiah between his death and his resurrection? The lead verse drawn is number 19649. Because a wind has passed over it and it is not, and its place does not discern it anymore. These words declare a completed transition. The wind passes over what was in a place. After it passes, that which was present is gone. The former location no longer knows it. The resurrection is the divine act that ends the presence in the place of death. What entered does not remain. The wind removes it. The place loses all claim. This word is anchored in verse 30084, the testimony of David the prophet. He foresaw that from the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, the Messiah would be raised to sit on his throne. Seeing this beforehand, he spoke of the resurrection of the Messiah, that his sush was not left in the mansion of the dead, neither did his flesh see corruption. The sush entered the realm of the dead, but was not abandoned there. The flesh placed in the tomb was preserved without corruption. The oath governed both. The pattern throughout the draw is clear: brought low, then delivered. Verse 19896 says he raises the poor out of the dust and lifts the needy from the dunghill. Verse 30222 presents the type of Joseph, sold into affliction, yet Elohim delivered him and exalted him to rule. What enters the low place does not stay there. Verse 31130 declares that the one who converts a sinner saves a sush from death. Verse 31594 adds that as death reigned by one man's offense, so much more those who receive grace and covenant faithfulness will reign in life by Joshua Messiah. Death had its brief season. The reign of life through the raised Messiah is eternal. The lead verse closes it: the wind passes over. It is not. The place discerns it no more. After the resurrection, the sush is no longer in the mansion of the dead. The flesh is no longer in the tomb. Both are raised together. The resurrection body, the preserved flesh, now made alive, comes forth from the place of death. This passage stands within the covenant. Verse 25043 speaks of Aaron and his sons consecrated for the ages to minister and bless in YHWH's name. The priesthood continues in resurrection power. Verse 21031 says the just man walks in integrity. His children are blessed after him. Verse 120 records a covenant line continuing through Seth and Enos. Identity is preserved. Verse 17958 tells us those who feared YHWH spoke often to one another, and a book of memorial was written before him. They are not forgotten. Verse 14328 promises that the lives of the priests will be satisfied with fatness and his people with goodness. The raising brings this fullness. Verse 32693 declares the blessing of Abraham comes on the Gentiles through Joshua Messiah. Verse 30216 recalls the Elohim of glory calling Abraham into inheritance. Verse 16929 calls to sow in faithfulness and reap in mercy. The Messiah sowed in death and reaps in resurrection. Verse 1623, I have waited for your salvation, O YHWH. The waiting is answered. The sush entered the mansion of the dead according to the word. The flesh rested in the tomb without corruption according to the oath. Then the wind passed. The raising occurred. The place of death lost its hold. The Messiah is delivered to the throne in the power of endless life. The verses speak with one voice. The signal is strong. The guidance is affirmed. Therefore the answer is plain. Between death and resurrection, the sush of the Messiah was in the mansion of the dead, but not left there. The flesh that became the resurrection body lay in the tomb, preserved by the power of the oath. Then the wind passed over it. The sush and the flesh were raised together. The resurrection body came forth. The mansion of the dead and the tomb no longer discern it. It is not there. The raised Messiah sits on the throne, consecrated as priest forever to minister and bless in his name. The covenant identity remains. The inheritance is secured. The priesthood endures. The wind has passed over. The place discerns it no more. The resurrection body lives and reigns. The verses drawn in this shield 17.9 session were 19649, 23835, 11455, 29240, 30084, 21031. This concludes today's interpretation under the shield protocol.